Hello everyone and welcome back to Chess Programming Game Design with me. It's been a while, I know that. I've just been quite busy and also trying to figure out how to make this work, and I finally think that I figured it out. So today what we're going to be doing, as I promised previously, is making it so that the king obeys some rules of chess. So it can't move into a position where it can be taken straight away. And also if it's in check, he has to move. We're going to start working on that. It's probably going to take minimum 3 lessons to get that done. So today we are mainly just going to start setting a few things up without doing much of the programming, but we might get to some. So to get started, what we need to do is create an enumerable type. Search it up. If you don't know what an enumerable is, this is what it's going to contain. We're going to be calling it game state. It's going to be our type, and then it's going to have different position, or what were they called? I can't remember, different things that it contains. How we're going to be using it? Well, we're going to have a new game state variable inside of our game manager, like we have other variables inside of here. And then we are also going to have a new method, which I'm going to copy and paste in and then explain what it does. Now, it is going to be kind of a long explanation, but you will see, hopefully, and you can follow along. So let's paste that in. I will just shrink it down. Ignore that there are errors for now. We are going to fix that. We do also need our does list contain element. Oh, we do have it in here. Okay, I thought we never added that back in, but apparently we have added it in. So that's all good, because we are going to be using it. So this is going to be a private method because, well, nothing else actually needs to use it. We are going to be using it after each time we've undone a move, and after each time we've made a move. Oops, I did not mean to expand that. So let's expand this. As you can see, we are missing a few variables inside of here. Let's delete the comments, as those are unneeded for now. And I think that that was inside of it as well. The comments are just me testing a lot of stuff, and as you can see, there were a lot of comments, so I did have to test a decent chunk of things and make sure that they do work. So the main thing that you can see is probably white moves and black moves that we need to add. So what are they? Well, I'm going to have them inside of our game manager, and they're going to be the moves that the white player or the black player can make to take the king of the opposite player. So we need those. And because it's moves, plural, we're going to make them lists, like the following. There are going to be lists of normal or special move, because that's the way we've been dealing with it. It's basically the easiest way to get the square that it's referring to. This next thing, as you can see, we also have the white king and the black king positions. So we're going to make those as well. This time we're going to be making them squares. Because it's position, I prefer to have it as square, and if we call the square, then we can also call the piece that's on the square, which easily gets us the king. Next thing, we have king can't move here. Well, that's a new thing that our piece class needs to have. So let's just quickly add it in. Where is our piece? Here we go. Just going to open it up and going to add a new variable. Let me just make sure I can find it over here. And what this is going to be, it's going to be a list of all of the places where this piece is not allowing the king of the opposite color to move into. So for example, this knight is blocking this square, and this square for the black king. So if the black king comes here, the black king should not be able to take this pawn or move to this piece. And if the black king is there, or there and so on, he shouldn't be allowed to move to there, as long as the white knight is there. And that's what this list is going to contain. The places where the white could move to take out the king. So that we can eliminate those from the options of where the king can move to. Now we have no errors. However, this program currently does nothing more. If anything, it probably causes some problems for us. So what we also need to change, let me just go into the game manager, and well, let's start off by actually explaining check situation of board. Can take piece. I will check on what that is in the near future. So we have white moves.clear and black moves.clear. As I said, check situation of board is going to be called after each time a move has been made. Or if we've undone a move, then it's a similar thing, so we just check to see what the previous situation of the board was. So we start off by clearing black moves and white moves, as well as the king position, because, well, that might have changed now, because a piece has been moved. That piece could be a king, and also the black moves and white moves would have changed because a piece has been moved, meaning there's some moves that are new and some moves that are old. Then we have a for each loop, so let's follow along. This for each loop is quite long, if I remember correctly. There we go. So that's the whole for each loop. It's split into two parts. So I have an if and an else if. The if checks for white and the else if checks for black. So what does it actually do? So before I explain it, I just noticed that I was missing this for each loop. I just forgot to add it in. So let's start off by explaining for the white. So what I check while I'm going through all of the squares of my board, the first condition I check is that there is a piece inside of my square. And if there is, then I also check whether it's white. If it's white, then the first check I do is to check whether it's the king. If it is the king, then I set white king position to equal to j, i.e. the square that contains the king. Next, I call the pieces check valid moves method, which assigns, as you remember, the valid moves list for that piece. So this is going to be a change, because now how I'm going to make it is so that at the start of each turn, each piece already knows where it can move, instead of once you click it for it to know where it can move. This makes it easier to know which piece can move where and what it can take. So that's the first part. The next part is this loop. So this loop is, I'm going through the king can't move here. So this isn't going to be the valid moves list, because the valid moves list only contains places to which the piece can move. So for example, this knight can only move here and here. But if the black king takes this pawn, then the white knight can take that. But at first it's not a valid move. However, I do still want to block it. So to have it blocked, I will have to use a different list here, which is why I am using a different list, as I said. So I'm going through all of the elements of king can't move here. And because this is a normal special move class, N is a normal special move class, to it I will also add a new boolean, which is going to be called can take piece. This is just saying whether this move can take a piece. So for example, a forward movement from a pawn cannot take a piece. A castling movement by a king cannot take a piece. But other movements can. And if they can, then I want to add those to white moves. I should probably name this something more appropriate, such as white taking moves or something, but for now, I just want to get the point across. I probably will rename it later on. So I add that to there. Then I do the same for the black player, but again for the black player. So how I do it is check to make sure that there is a piece in the square, check that it is that the piece is black's piece by doing a not in front, as you can notice there, and I don't have a not there. And if it's a king, I set black king position to be there, and then I do a similar thing, but instead of adding to white moves, I add to black moves. Black moves is a list, just like white moves. Then I have another loop, which goes through all of the squares once again, and checks the valid moves once again. So why I do it twice? As you can see, beforehand I have check valid moves. Where was it? I can't find it. Okay. So for the pieces, I do check valid moves here, and so this is for the white pieces. This is for the black pieces, and then I do it once again for all of the pieces. So if you only do it once over here, then what happens is they get one piece can make a move, but then the opposite piece cannot. So let me just try to show you an example. So for if this king moves there, and then the black king is here, because my board is scanned from right to left, bottom to top, the white king sees that it can move forward, because, well, that imagine my white king is on 2-4 at this point. Imagine my white king is here. So if the white king is there, it sees these as empty slots. Well, it sees these as empty slots, which it can move to, because, well, nothing is attacking them. However, then the board scans that there's a black king there and checks that black king can attack here. But because we've already done check valid move for the white king is already allowed to move here. The black king wouldn't be, but the white king is, which is an error. So to fix that, I just do check valid moves once again, and that makes sure that all of the black moves and white moves are taken into consideration, these lists. And you will see how once we actually get to programming the king, or changing a few of the things for the king. I just do it by using the does list contain element method to make sure that all of the elements that are in black moves are for the white king is not allowed to move into them, and vice versa for the black king. The next thing, this doesn't do much just yet, but it's kind of like checking whether someone's in check or it's normal. So I had to do a return somewhere because, well, I've made it a game state method. So what to do is, if does list contain element is my own method, as you can remember. If white moves black king position, so if white is attacking the black king, then black is in check. If black is attacking the white king, then white is in check. Otherwise, it's normal. So that's actually going to be it for today's lesson. I've decided to split this video up into 3 parts because it came out quite long, as I think I mentioned at the start of the video. I hope I did anyway. So at the end of this 3-part video, what we will have done is made sure that the king cannot move into the opposing king or the opposing knights, so that he can prevent straight away being captured, at least by those 2 pieces. So until next time, if you enjoyed this video, then please give me a like, share and subscribe. If you have any questions that you would like to ask me, do feel free to ask in the comments down below. I will make sure to answer them as soon as possible. Again, I do apologize for having such a long break, I guess you could call it, between this video and the previous video, but I was quite busy, and also trying to figure out how to make this work. So yeah, until next time, once again, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.